Hi everyone. I think we're starting now. Thank you so much for being here. There's more people here than I thought there would be, so I'm very happy. Thank you for taking time out of your festival to be here. I know that you could be playing a game or maybe like prepping to be a fighting robot or something really cool, and you're here instead. So thank you so much. My name is Paula Deming. I was invited out this year to be this year's guest of honor, which I feel weird every time I say, but I guess I'll own it. And I make YouTube videos, among other things, about board games. I have a YouTube channel. It's under my name, Paula Deming, and I started by making a sketch comedy series called Things Get Dicey. And I was gonna make you watch one of those videos so that you could see kind of the kinds of things that I do, but you're welcome to look it up later if you'd like to, if you're not familiar with them. And I still make sketch comedy videos on my channel. I've branched out to start doing other things because I've been doing my YouTube channel for about 7 years now, and decided it might be fun to branch out into, I do some top 10 lists, I have some strategy videos. I do try and put a lens of comedy or jokes into everything I do because that's just who I am, and I think it helps me kind of stand out among all the other people who are making videos about board games. I also stream board games on Twitch every week. I also stream video games, but once a week I'm streaming board games. Often it's the game Final Girl, but sometimes it's other things. I am a member of a podcast called This Game is Broken, which is a board gaming comedy panel show where we quiz each other about board games. And it's very fun. If you haven't ever listened to it, we have a little bit of an international crew. There are 3 Americans, me and Nick and Mike Murphy, and then we have a Brit, Matthew Jude, and we have he's Dutch. I always forget, sometimes I think he's German because he lives in Germany, but Dave Luza, who tells me that I never say his last name right, so I've stopped trying. I also play role-play games. So I do a lot of actual plays with particularly the Glass Cannon Network. So I play Pathfinder 2nd edition with them, among a variety of other games. Right now we're doing a Pendragon game and another game that I can't talk about because this is live on the internet. I would have told you otherwise. Ask me later if you want to know the other game that we're currently recording that no one's supposed to know about yet. And I play a lot of Call of Cthulhu. I am on a podcast called Push the Roll with Ross Bryant, and that is an improvised Call of Cthulhu show where we get a random title suggestion from Patreon members, and then Ross Bryant, who is on Dropout TV, among other kind of nerd places, will basically improvise the whole scenario for us. We randomly pick a character right at the start, and then we do kind of a one-shot game, and it's the most fun thing. So many things. I also sometimes am on the YouTube channel Good Time Society. They've been doing a lot of Blood on the Clock Tower videos, and I think one of my episodes is about to finally come out. So you can see I do a fair amount in the I guess, entertainment aspect of gaming, board games, and role-play games. So the reason that, well, here's how this is gonna work. I'm gonna tell you just a little bit about me and what I do and what my experiences have been. And then I thought with a little bit of time, we could maybe work together to try and come up with an idea for a sketch that I could maybe try and make at some point. And then with any time we have left, if anyone has any questions, we can do that. So why did I start making videos? A good question. Wasn't I doing something else important with my life? So I had been playing board games for years, I mean a long time. And we had started watching a lot of video content about board games, mostly for us watching a lot of like The Dice Tower and Shut Up and Sit Down. And I was looking at the videos we were watching, and the landscape then was a little bit different, where there were not very many women at the time at least in what I was seeing, making videos about board games. And it just felt kind of strange to me because in my own personal gaming group, we were about 50-50 men and women. So I was like, I'm not unusual. You know, this is normal to be a woman playing board games. Why am I not seeing that reflected in any of these videos? And we don't need to unpack all of the social and societal reasons for that, but I thought, well, I could make some videos. I mean, I'm an actor. I've been in a lot of YouTube series that like no one's watched. You know, I could just do that again, but for my own thing. And I didn't want to do board game reviews because I thought, why would anyone care what I think about a board game? I'm no one knows who I am. I have no journalist background. So I probably don't want to do reviews, but I like to make jokes. I do improv, I do sketch comedy. Maybe I should make some videos that are just jokes about board games because I didn't see that at the time, at least in kind of the American side of content. I didn't really see that happening a lot. There were a few things, but no one was really doing comedy for gamers. And to me, it feels like it's community building, right? For everyone who watches like the Fasta Life videos at the end of the night, you know, you're making jokes about things that hopefully you're like, oh, that's a joke about something that I saw happen today. And it makes you feel connected, right? It makes you feel like you're more of a community. And I thought, well, don't we deserve that? Don't we as gamers deserve to feel like we're all connected by something, and maybe laughing over these common experiences that we all have will help us feel that. So that was a lot of my motivation for starting to make videos, and I really thought that no one would watch them. I put out a video and I was like, in my dream world, 500 people will watch this, like Fantasyland. And then like 1,000 people watched it, and my subscribers on YouTube like doubled, and I was like, oh no, I have to keep making these. And so I did. I just kept making them. And now, you know, this is what I do full time, is making content about games. The thing is, as much as I find value in comedy, and I think a lot of people here probably do too, just based on what I see Fastaval is, and again, that you do have a sketch team running around filming videos during this event. But not every gamer wants you to joke around about a game, right? Some people like their games to be very serious, very strategic, because I fundamentally believe that there are two kinds of gamers. There are the gamers who want to have the experience. Maybe they're doing LARPs, they're doing role play, or in board games they're doing, you know, a narrative game. They're playing Betrayal at House on the Hill, where can be so random, but you experienced it, and that was a story that you got out of it. Or maybe you're playing The Mind because you just want to feel that feeling of like, oh, we did it, we thought of the same number at the same time. And then you have the other kind of gamer who are like, I want to analyze, I want to perfect, I want to solve the puzzle, and I want to do it the best, right? And there's nothing wrong with either one. But the ones who like to analyze and solve the puzzle are sometimes don't want jokes in their videos. In my strategy series that I mentioned, I put a lot of jokes into, like, there's real strategy tips in my videos, but I did a strategy video about Wingspan, and in it I slowly turn into a bird. Just like every time I come back with a new tip, I wish I could pull, you're just gonna have to go to the YouTube channel and look at it for yourself, but every time I come back with a new tip, I like, now there's some feathers in my hair, now there's some makeup on my face, now I'm wearing a beard, oh gosh, now I'm wearing a beak. And by the end, I look like a bird, or I have an Azul one and I'm just eating more and more chocolate the whole, because you know Azul looks like candy, so I'm just eating candy the whole time. And not everyone likes that, which is fair, you know? They're like, I just want to know how to be better at Azul, and I don't want to do it while you have 5 pieces of candy in your mouth. Why? Okay, fine. You know, those people don't have to engage in my channel, but there is sometimes some pushback, right, on, and I think we feel this sometimes too with games in general. Like sometimes when you make a silly game or a party game, right? I mean, even I will do it. We look at it and we are like, well, that's not for serious gamers though. That's for people who get their games from from which one? Where?
Fruitix. Easy Danish word, fruitix.
Wait, what does that mean?
Or quickly, it's like the grocery markets.
Ah, yes, I was gonna say like Walmart, but I wasn't sure what was a good analog, but maybe, yes. There you go, yeah. Which is like a horrible attitude to have, right? To be like, those plebes, those noobs who don't, you know, they play Monopoly and they're happy about it. But yeah, don't they know what good games are? So even I sometimes, you know, have that feeling, but I hope that what I do can help remind people that ultimately games are about having fun. We're playing games. That's the word for it. You play them, and it doesn't always need to be so serious. And I hope that making the kind of content I make can help remind people of that sometimes, that it's okay to be silly and we should just be enjoying ourselves. Even if we are just doing a multiplayer solitaire where all I care about is what's happening on my board and it's an efficiency puzzle, it still should be fun, and it should be fun for everyone at the table. One of the other things that I do is I do playthroughs of board games that I film us sitting down and playing a game. Or, you know, like an actual play in the role play world, you know, where you're filming yourself playing the game. And this can be challenging as well because I think inherently games are not meant to be watched, right? They're meant to be played. They're meant to be engaged with. So the way you play a game on camera for other people's entertainment is not necessarily the way you would play a game just sat down with your friends trying to win. And this is a thing I think about a lot when I'm making these playthrough videos or when I'm in someone's role play, actual play, is what is going to show off the game, but also be actually fun to watch, right? Because no one wants to watch you be like this. And then 8 and 3. Okay, but if I do that, it's 8 and 4, so that's 12, so that's one more point. No, I'll do that. You know, like no one wants to sit there and watch you think about what to do on your turn. We hate that at the table, right? I don't want to watch a video of someone doing that. So one thing I'm always thinking about when I'm making a playthrough video is how can we, it's not about having the best turn. You know, this video of me playing this game is not to show like the best strategy of a game. It's to show whether or not the game looks fun, whether or not the game can be fun. What does this game feel like to play? And so you will not see my best strategic game moves in a gameplay video if you watch, or certainly not in a live stream. If I'm live streaming the game, I really rely on that live chat to tell me when I'm getting something wrong, because I usually am. Which reminds me that everybody thinks they're playing a game right, and then they watch you play it on the internet and they're able to see all the rules mistakes you made, and they want to get in the comments and be like, you did this wrong. Actually, 20 minutes in, you didn't flip the card over that you should have, and so that means that, and I'm like, you probably got that wrong on your playthrough too. There was just no one filming it and watching it later to see proof, right? And so there's this like level of scrutiny that happens when you are recording yourself playing, because other people can check your work. And that's why I'm like, look, we're gonna get it wrong, but at least we can make it look fun. So can we do this thinking very quickly? Can we do this just like making a choice and going for it? Can I pick what the fun option is, even if it's not the most efficient option? And how can I have the most interaction at the table while we're playing? So these are a lot of the things that I'm just thinking about when I'm making my videos. Yeah. This happens in actual play role plays as well, is in the moment, it's so easy. I don't know how many people play a lot of like heavier role play systems. You know, I'm playing a lot of Pathfinder. And has anyone in here ever played Pathfinder? A couple, yeah. It's quite, the word I would use for it is crunchy. There's a lot of rules. In D&D, if you've played like 5th edition particularly, I feel like it's so much easier to just be like, I want to climb the wall. And the DM's like, great, okay, just roll an athletics check. And you roll and then you do it. And in Pathfinder, it can be like, all right, well, that's going to be the grab an edge action. Do you have access to that based on whether or not you're trained in athlete? And you're like, oh, God, I just want to climb the wall. So there's a lot of optimizing that happens in that game. And when you're in the middle of playing it, you're not always thinking about it, right? You're just trying to like choose a thing, and then people listening or watching can catch those things. So it makes me think, I don't know, what's the whole point of me saying any of this? It's really not to complain about people who watch or listen, even though it sounds a little like I'm just complaining about it. But it's just a different way to think about approaching games. And that's what I spend a lot of my time doing, is thinking about how to approach these things in a way that is fun for other people. How to balance the optimal gameplay with the entertaining thing to do. Yeah, I actually, I think like that is kind of just a big info dump on like what I do and how I think about it. And I thought it might be fun now, if everyone is willing to kind of help out, we could maybe try to come up with a sketch video together and kind of go through the process of how that works. Now, if I had a big like whiteboard here, we could like write all the ideas on it. But I didn't think about that until now. So, oh, wait, but I do have a pen and I can write it in my notebook. Okay, while I grab a pen, I want everyone to be thinking about, we need to have an idea, right, for this sketch. We need to have something that you think is funny. Something, maybe that it's happened at this event, maybe something about a role play experience you've had or a board game experience you've had, something that you don't even yet have to know why you think it's funny. We will need to figure that out to write this sketch. But think about like there's just something that strikes you as, that's kind of funny when that happens, right? So think about that, and I'm gonna grab a pen, and then we're gonna see if we can get some ideas. Okay. I'm gonna give everyone a moment. They're brainstorming together. Sorry, can I ask in this back corner, what are you knitting? Is it a scarf or a?
A very small blanket, I think.
Ah.
Let's see how long I'm going to go for.
How patient you are with it. It looks great from here. I knit, so it looks beautiful from this distance. Okay, I'm not up close to it, so you know, it could be a hot mess over there. I haven't examined it, so don't take my word for it that it's beautiful, but it looks nice. Okay, so has anyone thought of like just a little kernel, a little nugget of an idea of something? Yeah, right here, yeah.
I don't know if you've covered it in one of your videos. I must admit I haven't seen them yet.
That's okay.
But I'm going to now. But how about a topic that says how to make a player hate the board game you love.
I love this. Okay, how to make.
What you normally do, is that you really try to win instead of helping the new player. And that makes the new player hate the game you love.
This is great.
You have a name for it. Yes, it's called the Suputeo effect. Yeah.
That's if you kind of get so much into the game that you forget that if you just roll over your friends, they will say, this is not a fun game. Even though it might be, but you forgot to make it enjoyable for them. Does it make sense?
Yes, it makes total sense. I think this is such a good idea, and it reminds me of a situation I had with Just just 2 days ago when we were playing.
He's my big brother.
Oh, so is this inspired by the same same person?
He got inspired by that.
This is great. I think we've all felt this, right? We've probably all been on both sides of this kind of an experience. And one thing that's great about, or one thing you want to do when you make a sketch, I think, is try and come up with something that, while we want it to be specific so that people feel like it's speaking directly to them, we also want it to be relatable. And I think this is really great because we can come up with a lot of specific examples of this situation, while this also is, again, something that we can relate to probably from both sides of it, right? Because we've probably all accidentally, demolished someone in a game that we love that we've taught them that they've never played before. And we're like, oh no, they're never gonna wanna come over and play this with me again. And we probably also had that experience where we're like, cool, yeah, well, if I knew all the cards in the game the way you have them memorized, I probably could have scored any points as well. So great. So making a new gamer hate a game we love. So I think.
You can also do that by explaining the rules very badly.
Yes, okay, great. So first idea, because we want to come up with a couple of different examples of how to do this. In the comedy training that I have, I did my improv study at a school called Upright Citizens Brigade, UCB. And one of the things that they talk about, there's a lot of different ways to approach comedy, right? But one of the things that they teach that I really like is you find the thing you think is funny, and then you do it 3 times throughout the course of your scene. And each time you do it, it's more exaggerated in some way. And it's either because we've made it bigger and sillier, or sometimes you can go the opposite direction and make it more and more mundane or more and more normal, which can then be funny in its own way, depending on the topic. So we want to come up with different examples of this. But this is also, I don't think we'd want to do just 3. I think this is the kind of video where you'd want a lot of quick examples, a montage of a bunch of different things. So I love, the first idea is explaining the rules badly, or doing what my little brother used to do to me when we were playing a video game that he knew and I didn't, is suddenly he'd do a crazy power move, and I'd be like, what, how did you do that? And he's like, well, I didn't tell you. I didn't tell you that you could hit square and triangle and up at the same time and have a power, no. Oh, well, now you know. Well, yeah, now I'm dead. So I think so explaining the rules badly.
Especially forgetting to explain something very important.
Yes.
Like making a take that.
Accidentally.
Yes.
My
Oops.
brother actually played a bit brisk against his high school friends who had never played before. So he was being very helpful and saying, oh, then you can go over there and invade that country and use this dice, blah, blah, blah. No, thank you very much, Jacob. That's awesome. And then it's yeah, I now won because you invaded those guys, so my condition is met. I'm never playing with you again.
Yeah, you're like, I did the thing you told me I should do, and now I've lost? Oh, that's dirty.
Yep.
So this brings up an idea, a question that I have for the room. We'll do this based on vote. Maybe we'll have everyone raise their hand. So we could do this one of 2 ways. Either we are accidentally making them hate the game, or maybe we're doing it on purpose. I don't know what is funnier, but I feel there's a way to go either way. Yeah,
I would say that also, I've been in a situation where you've watching over a game, and you can see what's happening and be like, maybe you should do this instead, or okay, are you maybe going a little too far this time? And you also have another concept which they call like alpha striking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like an alpha gamer where you're like telling them what to do? No, okay.
There's some games where there's something that the problem is alpha striking, and it means like the first turn you table the other person.
Yes, okay.
So it's like, and that's really easy when you're playing with someone new.
Yes.
It's like, and I won the game. But we haven't even started. We used like an hour setting up the game. Yeah, and won.
Yeah, and now it's over.
Yeah.
I think this happens particularly to me in like the miniatures gaming world, like a Warhammer kind of thing where you can just like wipe them out at the start and be like, well, that's that. Yeah, okay, so third idea, do we do it from the perspective of the person ruining the game or the perspective of the person feeling awkward while they watch the other person ruining the game for their friend? Okay, think about this for a second, and we'll do a poll. I'll ask, and we'll vote how we want to approach it, because there's no right or wrong answer. We just have to choose one, right? Yes?
So I had the example here earlier today where we were playing a new game. It's still a prototype. So there was a couple of exceptions in the game rules. Like, I'm making a big play and money points, and then, actually you can't do that because this exception says that the device only count for those tiles and not for those kinds of scoring points.
I'm gonna write that down as an actually, you can't.
Then I also had a situation where I played a Zulu, one of my friends. She had played a lot of the game, and I played a lot of the game. And then we were playing for the first time, and she was like, I'm getting 2 points. And then, no, you're not. You're getting 4 points. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Differently. Yeah, she thought we were getting 4 points, but you were getting 2. Because she had played it the wrong time, like, for many, many years, 10 years.
Had just been like, I've been playing this game wrong.
To other people.
I have done that, the moment where you realize you've been playing a game wrong for years, and you're like, oh no.
So that could be like a fun exception at the end of the video, like the person that's new to playing the game, like, actually the rules you just said that you have to do this, and then, oh no.
I think that's we're jumping around in structure a little bit right now, but you always need what I would call a button on your video, right? This is what I think. You always want like the very last moment to be one final joke. And I think that can be the hardest joke to think of, because it has to be like, hopefully one that's surprising or the biggest laugh that you just end on. And I think that could be a really great button. Let me just jot this down. You realize you've been playing it wrong. I think this in the EM, like the flower pattern.
It's building on top of that, but if you listen to kids playing, you'll have them playing out a scenario, and they'll say, then I'll do this, and then I'll do that, and suddenly one of them will be dead for whatever reason. And they will come up with a counter rule that will sort of, so that they can avoid dying in this scenario, or this thing that they don't want to happen.
Yeah.
They'll just come up with some odd rule that, no, because of this whatever.
It was a Sunday show, that doesn't work.
Yeah, the way kids, when they're playing pretend, be like, well, actually,
Yeah.
that doesn't happen because...
And here, sure, there might be a rule, but it could almost sound as if it's just something you just come up with on the spot.
Yeah, coming up with an exception on the spot? Question mark. Okay, great. Yeah, in the plaid.
This just made me think of, if you've seen the series My Name is Earl.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit, yeah.
Okay, the basic premise is he has this big list of all the things he's done wrong in his life. He has to go back to all the people and make it good again. Okay, so what if you do this? All the games that you now have learned, you played it wrong and taught it to these other people. You have this long list of all the things. Go back and
Making amends.
5 years ago, I told you this, but it's really wrong.
That's such a good idea.
Somebody is telling them you're clever here.
Except, the rules are just wrong.
Yeah, they think you're calling to tell them, like, I gave you a horrible disease, but actually, I just taught you Castles of Burgundy wrong 5 years ago.
So that's a disaster.
It is for teach. That's a brilliant idea. I'm jotting that down because I might make that video. I'm making amends for teaching a game wrong. Yes. So.
I have an idea with like a narrator,
Yeah.
like at the table where, like in the best David Attenborough style, like, and now this player teaches this trick to this person, and then maybe the joke at the end could be that the narrator was actually sitting at the table, and then highlighting, "Can you please shut the fuck up?"
Oh my, yeah, and that's the button, yeah, is the reveal that the narrator, our kind of third person POV, is someone who's been awkwardly watching the whole time.
Narrating.
These are great ideas. Narrator. Button reveals. Should you all start your own YouTube channels? You guys have great ideas. Yes, you should all start, but it's there at the table. Hi everyone watching, just an announcement that my channel has now been taken over by these members of Fastavals, and it's their channel now. Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm just thinking that some of the scenarios I end up in where I end up teaching something wrong or something is when I try to the love of the game to push it to someone who might not be ready for it. So another take could be that you see someone teaching a really complex game, and then you turn the camera and it's just three little kids of 5 years, tall, terraforming Mars.
Yeah.
So normally it's just for the love of the game, and you get caught up in the thing you love.
I think that brings up a thing that we often forget as people who play a lot of games, is a game that seems really approachable to us can be way more complicated to someone who doesn't play a lot of games than we realize. Does anyone here know the game Parks? So to me, that's like a fairly simple and approachable game. And I went to explain it to my parents, and I was like, oh, this is more complicated than you think it is if you're not used to playing a lot of games. And so I think that happens to us all the time, and I think that's another great, or what that then makes me think of next is, maybe a video that starts with something really simple, maybe even like Exploding Kittens or Cards Against Humanity, or a game that a lot of people might just pick up and can play very easily. And they're like, great, you've mastered that. Now it's time for Twilight Imperium or whatever, like a big leap into something more complicated, which I feel like is how to make a new gamer hate games. So in terms of this particular idea, making someone who's new to a game hate the game, do we think, we'll just do by show of hands, I'm loving this idea of like the narrator POV watching it happen. Do we think the person who is ruining the game is doing it on purpose or accidentally? What do we think is funnier? Raise your hand if you think it's funnier if they're doing it on purpose. And if you think it's funnier if they're doing it accidentally. Okay. It could go either way, but this room is heavily in favor of them doing it accidentally. They don't even realize. I think we all know this person, right? They don't even realize they're making it difficult for everyone else. We've probably all been that person at some point. Like what my dad would be saying to me now about Parks, probably. He won, by the way. He gets it, like halfway through the game. This happened with viticulture too. Halfway through the game, it clicks for him, and then he wins. I'm like, I do this for a living, and I can't win anything. Okay, so they're doing it on accident.
Sometimes it's the new player's fault because they say, "Can we just start playing?" Yeah.
Blaming the victim, I see. But that's true, right? Like sometimes they're like, well, we'll just play it as we'll learn it as we go. In some games you can, but some games you're like, no, we cannot do that. Please let me teach you this game. You're gonna be so sad if we learn it as we go. Do we think, okay, I love that idea. Do we think, here's where you have to come to when you're making a sketch, right? This is really funny. Is that its own thing? Does it fit in what jokes we're trying to tell here? Do we think it works, or do we think we set that particular idea aside and say that's its own, I think that could be its own thing.
Unless you dig into the conflict of this player insists on teaching the rules, this player insists on not being learned the rules, and that is the like war that they're doing. Otherwise, it should be.
Yeah, and see, I feel like that's a different comedic premise, right? So I think that's it. You know what I didn't realize doing this talk? That we were actually gonna come up with every video I'm gonna make for the rest of the year. These are great ideas. I will. I was gonna say we should get everyone's name written down so I can credit all of you in the. Because I love that. I love that idea, and I do think it's its own video. Yes.
What happens often when this happens to me is that at some point in the play, I will say, oh, by the way, there is this rule. Maybe I didn't explain it proper enough, but I will explain now. And they will say to me, you don't have to, because I'm never going to play this game again.
Oh no! Oh no!
That's where you know you did it. Right.
You're like, oh no. You realize you've been the person who's admitting, you're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I did this recently. I maintain I explained the rule correctly, but we were like halfway through the game and I did a thing and they were like, oh, you can do that? And I'm like, yeah, I said earlier. And they were like, no, you didn't. You didn't. And I was like, I'm really sorry. Do you want to take some extra points or get some extra resources? I thought I explained it, but I felt really bad. But they won, so they didn't need it.
Having everything explained and understanding and remembering everything.
Yes. Yeah, there is a difference. Yes. Let's learn as we go. Sorry, I'm jotting down all these gold ideas you guys have. As we go. Versus I want to teach. Okay. So let's think about this. Okay, so we have a person who is unintentionally making a new player hate the game they're playing, with a narration happening as it's going on. Here we see the experienced gamer. I can't do a David Attenborough, but I could when I made the video. But here we see, like a nature documentary, the experienced gamer. Trying to explain the rules, but glossing over all of the finer details, and their interaction as they're doing it. So what are some other? Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Also, there's a hand over there.
Yeah.
If you go with the three-step rule, you could go with the narration first, like you're having the two players, the player actually being completely unaware what they're doing. Then you have after that have one maybe getting to a more like a middle point, and then at the last one, the narrator is the one who's going. And actually, the youngling was already dead.
Like, oh, and this had already gone wrong. Yeah, and that's like where you're doing it the 3 times. I like this where the narrator is going, here we witness this, and what could have happened was this. Let's see what happens next. And then we watch the next example. So we have explaining the rules badly, forgetting an important detail. I forgot to say, when you have this tile actually gives you a bonus action.
Well, why didn't you do that? Oh, now it's too late.
Yeah, no, you can't take it back now. Which would be so mean to tell someone they couldn't take back something that you mis-explained to them. And oh, actually, you can't spend 3 coins for that, even though you think that actually is only allowed in this phase of the game, and it's that happens in the income phase, and now it's the cleanup phase. It's too late. You can't do it. Yes.
The nature documentary thing made me think of like the functions, I don't know, like biological or social functions of why are people having certain behaviors. There's always something like this little bird is preening, showing off its little treasures to its potential mate. So what if with the person who is teaching the rules, kind of somebody impressive walks by, or somebody they want to impress walks by, and they start to like go into detail to show off how much they know, and the other person, like the person they are explaining to, just completely drops over that.
And now they're showing off to a potential mate who isn't paying any attention to them yet. They seem unimpressed by this display of. I like this direction we're moving in. Yes, right here.
Just another way to make people hate it is introducing it by comparing it to something that's absolutely not similar.
Yes.
So, well, this is just like this game you know and love.
Because you roll dice.
Yeah.
If you like love letters, you'll love Twilight Imperium.
Yeah. That's another good one. Yeah. Bad comparison. That's great. And that's how that's a great way to open, I think, because that's how you've convinced them to start playing the game in the first place. Oh, you love that game? Well, you're going to love this one. You love Werewolf? You're going to love Robinson Crusoe, because you're going to die in both of them. Yeah.
I think one thing that I am very guilty of is I'm a notorious board game time optimist.
This is only going to take 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's like it's 9 o'clock. We just played a board game. Like, well, is this the perfect time to play War of the Ring now? Like,
I mean, yeah,
it only
probably.
takes 4 hours. If you know the rules and you play it at least 10 times the last 3 months, then you can maybe do it in 4 hours.
And you're used to it, it'll be fine.
Yeah, and so it's always saying, no, it only takes 2 hours. It's not a problem. And then it takes 6 hours, and then someone's like, we're halfway. Let's just stop now. There's no reason to finish.
I love that. So I love the idea. Okay, we're starting with a bad or an inaccurate comparison to another game, promising that it's not going to take as long as the game actually is going to take. And maybe that's because you really think, oh, it's only going to take an hour. Yeah, it's going to be quick. Yeah, on the box it says 45 to 60 minutes. Now we know the box lies, but this new gamer has no idea. Underestimating the time. And then we could move into doing a poor rules explanation, which leads into forgetting an important detail, telling someone, oh, actually you can't do that, with our button of, I still like the idea of like realizing they've been playing it wrong that whole time, and then with like an extra like twist reveal button of, if we're working the narrator into it, realizing the narrator is at the table. Maybe we use them to discover that they've been playing it wrong. I'm not sure yet. We would have to figure that out. Yeah.
I think referring that the narrator, of course, knows that the errata has contradicted what the bad expert is saying.
Yeah, Larry's like, no, it's only going to take 45 minutes. Narrator, this game lasts approximately 2 hours and 25 minutes. Or this game will last. I like the idea of being like, because, there's that...
Little does the unsuspecting victim know they will take 2 hours and 37 minutes.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I love that.
I had the idea with the narrator, when they actually get discovered, they will be like, if you do that move, the game is over, and you won. And that's it. You just close on that.
Yeah, oh, yeah, where the narrator's the one who's like, oh, boop, boop, I end the game.
It's more like, and would you shut up? And you're like, well, if you do this and this, it's over.
Yeah, oh, you should have been them like, okay, doop, game's over. Yeah, that's good. I like that too.
That's a special rule.
If you use eagle,
It's over.
Oh, didn't I say that's how the game ends?
Oh, that could be like how did they play the game wrong, and then he he knows the actual rules that are like, oh, you can actually just do that.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I'm pretty sure the rules work this way, and then you, the new player, win. Maybe that's a fun angle on the ending. Is the narrator giving some kind of information that actually means the new player wins. And then the end card is the old title scratched out, the new title put in, how to make an old gamer hate the game they're playing. Yeah, so I think we've come up with a lot of really good ideas. I wish we could film it right now and make it. But I'm gonna like hone in on this, and I'm gonna write this as a script. And look, you don't have to subscribe to my YouTube channel, but if you want to see it, maybe I'll be able to set
You can post
Fastaval.
Fastaval Facebook group to say, hey, now it's here.
Yeah, I've made it. Or
Hashtag festival.
I'll use the hashtag. I can put it in the Facebook group, and I could maybe do like a collaborator setting with the Fastaval YouTube channel when it's made. Look, these things take time, so it won't be next week. But and it could go, and then people could see what we came up with together, and then you all can see how I took all these really good ideas, and if you think I did them right, or if you think I ruined them, and then you can comment on it. Either way.
1 minute 20, actually, I forgot to flip that part.
Exactly.
That's not what we discussed.
That is not the idea we came up with together. We're like,
Paula Deming stole the election.
yeah, this has been so fun to come up with these ideas together. We have just a few minutes left, and so I thought I don't want to crush everyone's creative flow that we're having, but if anyone has any questions, we could do a little Q&A real quick if you have any questions for me, my process, how to make videos, why I'm here, the political situation in America, anything you want. Yeah, back here in the back.
You were talking before about how like playing in a way that's fun to watch.
Yeah.
That's different from playing like in the optimized way. How does that affect your fun? Like as you are playing, because of course you're performing. How do the dynamics of like fun for you change?
Yeah, I think one of the things that is very important for me that I don't always remember really well, but I try really hard to do when I'm filming a game for other people to watch, is that I have to stop caring about whether or not I win. I think that's really important, because if you get too caught up in, am I winning this game? You can get kind of snippy sometimes with other people at the table, or you can get upset, especially if it's a game where someone might attack you or take away some of your resources or burn down that thing you spent all game building. No one wants to watch you actually have your feelings hurt or like be a sore loser. It's not fun. It's uncomfortable to watch, right? There's a way to play up, to do kind of like a silly, over-exaggerated, like, oh, you're being mean to me. But people can tell when you actually feel like someone's being mean to you. And right, like, that's not fun to watch. Nothing makes me want to click off a video faster than like that cringe feeling of being like, oh, they were actually really upset about that. And so that's the biggest thing for me, is trying to focus on letting everything just like roll off my back, just like not bother me. It's silly, it doesn't matter. I have to do this too. I was talking about my podcast, This Game is Broken, because that's a quiz show and we're on teams. There are episodes, if you go back and listen, there are some where you probably hear me being like, but I thought I had that answer right and I didn't, and I was upset about it. And it's like, you have to just let that go. You have to, because it sucks all the fun out of it. Yeah, that's. Did you? Yeah.
We talked about rules before.
Mhm.
Have you ever made like a new editing of your video because you explained it in a wrong way, and the publisher or a designer reached out and said this is really a problem?
I have luckily never had a situation quite like that. But in anything I've made, normally I've been able to, if I have a rules question ahead of time, something that I feel like isn't clear, I try to reach out to them to say, hey, I'm unsure about this and we're making a video, I'd like to get it right. Or I might, there are a couple of things I've done where I had to put a correction on screen. And, oh no, actually, I'm thinking of a situation now that actually is, yes, this has happened to me, but I've like put a correction on screen. Oh, in this moment, I did this, I should have done this. That was wrong. But there was a game, so I have done some solo playthrough videos for a YouTube channel called Watch It Played, in a series called Table for One. And I believe it was, I was playing Undaunted Callisto 2200, I think is the whole title. And there was like actually they realized there was something misprinted on the board. And so we had a whole discussion of like, do we have to refilm this whole video? Do I have to remake it? Can we fix it just by putting up a note and saying, hey, this was wrong, you're gonna see it in the whole video, but know when you play that it should be done like this. We had a whole conversation about like, what do we do about some of these errors? Because you want the audience, especially with a video like that, you want people watching to feel like they know how to play based on watching how you played. You want to be like a resource. And the publisher for that, Osprey Games, was great. They were really great about it. And we ended up just doing like some notes and some like pop-up things on screen to cover it. I don't think I had to refilm anything. But that can be tricky. And yeah, luckily it's never happened after I've already had something published. It's happened like while I'm still working on the video that they've realized, or in that case, we sent them the video to watch ahead of time to check. And that's how we caught some of those things. So we were able to at least be like, okay, we can at least put some notes in so people know from the beginning, yeah. Yeah, but that can be tricky. And you'll see a lot of people say, like, turn on your Klingon subtitles on YouTube, or turn on this, subtitle channel where they will put in rules corrections if they realize them later that will pop up on screen. And that's the thing a lot of people do. Because it's hard to get everything right. Like I said earlier, like no one's getting all the rules right probably when you're playing at home. You just don't realize it because no one's there to check and see. Yeah. Yeah, any other questions? Yes?
Well, in some of your videos, you do not treat your board games that well. And as a board gamer, I was watching, is that just games you don't care about, or do you just have a lot of copies of them?
Okay, in some cases I have multiple copies. So I did do an official rules video for Park's Nightfall expansion, and they sent me 2 copies of that game. And that was good because there is a scene where I take a bite out of a s'more, and in the middle of it is one of the cards from the game, and so it's like I'm biting. So we had to like cut a hole out of the card, and I put it in with marshmallow and chocolate and graham cracker. So the card is ruined, but I had another copy of the game for the card. And there's a video, the second video we ever made, it's a video about trying to keep your games clean. And so the whole video I'm like touching everything with gloves, and I'm like brushing off the table, and I'm like, no one can have snacks at the table. So I put some slices of pizza in a blender, and I blend it up, and I put it in like a sippy cup, like with a lid that a kid would drink out of, that wouldn't spill. And then the end of the video, I take a drink of the blended up pizza, and then I spit it out all over my copy of Concordia. Now, in that case, we didn't actually spit it on the board. We did a little visual effect where we had the board, and then we removed the board, and I spit it out, and then we kind of like were able to put the 2 pieces of footage together. But I cheated. And then I have a video, the one I wanted to try and show you, I have a video where I put a cardboard coin in my garbage disposal. I don't know if that's what they're called here. I know in... So the thing in the sink that like, all your food bits. You know, the kind of thing in a horror movie that you put your hand down and then it turns on. I,
Why we don't have.
but I didn't actually put the coin in the garbage disposal. But I've become a lot less precious with my games since making videos about them. And I'll eat any snack at the game table. I don't care. Like, just use a napkin and it'll be fine. But you know what's great about messing up a game in a video is it gives you a lot of comments. Because people don't like it. They really, it's that thing about like, I don't want jokes in my content and about games. They really don't want to see you like damage your game or hurt it. Or it's amazing that legacy games are even a thing, right? With the amount of like ripping up cards they make us do, it feels wrong. So I get a lot of comments on the videos where I look like I have damaged a game. But I mean, I want them to be nice, but also like, I don't know, they're things, they're just things.
Cardboard babies. Don't kill them.
They'll be fine, you know. Just,
Playing with friends and family and then just spending the cards a bit too much.
I'll riffle shuffle.
I mean that's another sketch, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
want to break this copy so that you can actually get the other game out because you have too big of a collection. This one's done.
Oh, yeah, this one, we can't play it anymore. It's worn out.
No more Dominion.
Yeah, oh, we ruined it. So now we have to get rid of it. Maybe you do that for the game that the older gamer made you hate. Oh no, something happened. It got sat on? The box is crushed.
It looks like all the cards were accidentally ripped.
Oh no, who did that? The cat must have gotten to them. Yeah. Oh no, all the cards somehow ended up on my plate and in the sink. And then, oh boy. See, we can make like 10 different videos from this talk. Yeah, last one.
Maybe just like string it all together, like all the ideas here, where like the older person actually becomes the victim for once and then realizes, holy shit, I've done this so many times, and then you can do each video where you actually show what they did, and then they come back and like make this long list of all the things that they've done, and like, how do I, try and make amends for this before.
It's like a whole TV series we could do. Like a whole series, yeah. All the ways that they have to try and make up for it. Yeah, I think that's great. Great. Well, we're at the end of our time, and I want to make sure you all can get to whatever you have going on the rest of the day, games or fun things you have going on. This has been incredible. Thank you so much for coming and being a part of this, for spending some of your time here with me, for having incredible ideas. I'm so excited to make a video and listening to me talk about myself for so long. And I just really appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's been incredible to be here. I'm enjoying myself so much. I think you have something really special going on here, and I just feel incredibly grateful to be getting to be a part of it. So thank you everyone. Tusen tack.